And to delve more about managing emotions toward children for parents, joining us in the studio is psychologist Regina Navira Pratiwi. Thank you so much, Regina, for being with us here in the studio. So we just saw the footage of parental violence against their own children. Now, what's your take on this?
About the violence, right? Okay, actually being a parent is tough, all we know, right?
Oh, tell me about it.
I was actually waiting for that approval from Chris.
But you know about this too, because he's an uncle, by the way. He takes care of his nephews, so you know about this.
You know, actually handling children has never been easy. It's never been easy, as you were saying.
Yeah, it's tough, and we know sometimes many parents, we have to deal with sleep deprived and also juggling with multiple commitments.
Yeah.
So this is hard, and this is absolutely perfectly understandable. When their emotion high up, this is very understandable. But sometimes when our children, for example, they are misbehaving on purpose, for example, like on purpose to get our attention. So sometimes it's so easy for us to snap them, to respond or react on instinct, something like that. And so here is when we go further, sometimes it's more than our hit them with a pillow or in front of them we do bad thing, and then sometimes the bad thing is labeling them. Put the negative label, and the problem is children, they believe what we are saying.
True.
And it will demotivate them to change their own behavior. Yeah, that's the big problem of being a parent.
Regarding to that, what are the most common challenges the parents has been facing? As you were saying, being parents is tough. Now, when it comes to managing that anger and also when dealing with children, what are the most challenging things, as I was saying?
Okay, it's like role conflict. Role conflict is the most, and also inner child. When we have trauma, and we didn't realize, okay, we have trauma, and we project our stressor, which is the stressor, it coming from the past life, previous, like when we were a child, it was hard for us, and it's hard, and we project our emotion to our kid when we are tired, of course. Yeah, but when we are feeling happy, well, it's so easy to taking care of our kid. But when we are tired, our brain will go down, and we repress the emotion, and the projection negatively will come to our child.
It is actually so true, because we make everything very personal when it comes to our children. Well, in fact, like for example, Hans, when my son is shouting at me, I take it personally, like, why do you hate me? I take care of you. Well, in fact, he's just dealing with this huge emotion inside of him. Meanwhile, he does not develop this cognitive ability of forming words, for example. So he shouted, so he cried, things like that, right? So what are the impact of the parents' treatment towards the child? For example, if the parents keep shouting at the child, or let's say hitting, how will it affect the relationship between the two?
And also mentally. And also mentally.
Yeah, mentally.
So, yeah, psychologically and mentally. Of course, when we are talking about stress and, treat our kid badly, it's about the regulation of emotion. Yeah, it plays critical role to build the connection, to build the trust. Let's say when we try to be more, calm and provide positive environment with slowdown, so our children, they will be more safe and can build strong connection with the parents. So here's the most important thing: as parents, we have to be able to regulate our emotion.
I think that's the key word.
Build
connection. Because oftentimes as parents, we want our children to obey us, to do what we say, right? Well, in fact, that's not gonna work if you don't have that connection. Is it true?
Yeah, of course. So that's why we have to get their trust. They have to trust us. Children, they modeling us. When we model some skill that we do, they will see us how we handle difficult emotion.
Right.
And then they will follow our lead if we cannot handle this.
That makes sense. That's quite sensible, because as you were saying, the children mold us. and also children see, children do. But this sounds to me as almost as I don't know. You need to be strategic when it comes to parenting, and also not only that your behavior would actually impacted your children, but also how to regulate your own emotion before you are actually taking care of your child. So, what are the strategies or techniques that parents could actually implement to, let's say, control their anger when dealing with challenging behaviors or situations with their children?
Okay, the most important thing is we need to educate ourselves about the child development, because in different age they have different emotional state, they have different. So we have to understand. By educating ourselves with this kind of knowledge, we know how to respond them effectively.
True.
Exactly, something like that. You know, like 24 months old, like baby, of course they are still egocentrism. But like 4 years old, preschool, they can understand when we are talking. And also they can read us, they can read the way we do when we are trying to, less likely to, you know, stop reacting, overreact in difficult situation. They will understand, oh, okay, my mother or my father, she or he can handle everything even in the difficult situation.
Yeah.
Okay, I can understand. So that's the most important thing. We have to educate ourselves first.
Right. Nowadays, parents are so into gentle parenting, something that we call gentle parenting. But some other people are saying that, you cannot be too gentle with your kids because you're gonna raise strawberry generation that easily gets bruised and things like that. So my question is, how to balance this? How to become a gentle parent, but at the same time you can teach them discipline and you still have that authority as a parent. How to balance it out?
Okay, it's talking about discipline. When we are thinking about discipline, there are so many things comes into my mind. It's like rules, rigid rules, authority, power, force, something like that, negative thing. But let's talk about compassionate discipline.
Okay.
So, compassionate discipline, we let our children through their feelings to understand about about appropriate behavior. And we can understand their thoughts. So they can try to understand which one is appropriate, which one is not inappropriate. So there are 3 aspects of it. There are 3 perspectives that we have to respect them. Their view, their perspective, their thoughts, and their feelings. And we have to try to explain that, okay, this is acceptable. This is unacceptable behavior. And of course, we also need to cooperate. We need to be cooperative, collaboration. Okay, let's do something together. We solve this together. And of course, like set boundaries, limitation. We have to know when to force them, and then when we have to be like more affectionate.
I see.
Wow.
So I think it's about classification, right? We have to teach our kids classification, how to classify it between right and wrong.
Yeah.
And I think we can teach them through simple games like sorting colors, sorting shapes, right?
And that is where the education comes in handy. That's why Regina was saying that as a parent, you have to be educated and also well-knowledge.
Yeah.
Being knowledgeable parents does mean that you would be able to regulate your own emotion as well as you finding ways to educate your children in a more fun and relatable way for them. But when it comes to educating or when it comes to parenting, you might need to have some alone time for yourself as well.
Yeah.
And as parents, this is from what I read, you are arguably able to have your own self-care. And in your opinion, how important or how is the way for parents to implement that self-care and emotional regulation for themselves, for their own well-being, and in order to be able to support their children as well, of course.
Of course, as I said before, that children, they can see us and they can do this and they can follow, imitate and observe. Yeah, that's the most important thing. That's why we have to be able to regulate our emotions. Just find the best strategy that make you happy to raise your mood. When you are happy, you can raise your mood. You can come back stronger to your family to build effective conversation, deep conversation with your kids. So that's very important when you have your own quality time, you have your own self-care. When we can provide this, we can provide a stable environment. It it promotes them for having a good psychosocial, good cognition. When we are happy for being a parent and we know how to regulate this, okay, just stay away from the stressor, which is stressor is like our children, our kids. It's okay. We are not a bad parent when we need like some time for ourselves. Like just have our quality time, go back stronger to your family and refresh and find something good for yourself and go back to your children, taking care of something. And yeah, that's the most important thing. We can provide stable environment.
Nice.
But sometimes the challenge for me is to pick the effective words or sentence in order to connect with my child. Do you have any tips on this? I mean, you're a psychologist, you have a 4-year-old. How do you pick the right words to communicate with your child in order for him or her to listen to you and to understand you?
Okay, the first thing is I was thinking, okay, which kind of philosophy, the level of philosophy that I can deliver to my child. Because of 4 years old, it's quite hard sometimes to understand. Let's say, okay, my child right now in the home, and she said that she doesn't want to see me in the TV. She doesn't like it when I'm working.
Oh, really?
Same, yes.
Yeah.
My son also hates
but
me when I'm working.
I told her like 1,000 times, it's okay, honey. I am a mother, so I will go back home and I will be happier and you will get something better from me, so I can be a good mother for you. Are you happy now? Okay, okay, of course I do this like many times, and she can understand because the cognition she developed well.
I see. So you gotta keep repeating it all the time until she builds this connection inside her brain.
Yeah.
I still have so many questions to ask, but we have to go on a little break. So please do not go anywhere. We are still going to continue our chat with Regina after the break. Stay with us.